This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
with the top end of Stevenson,
Right, a man who knows all about road traffic accidents this week since he's been doing the travel in the morning on Go Radio is Grado. But it's pure shite that Grado wasn't here this week because he'd have been perfect for this, wouldn't he?
What a segue that would have been.
Aye, it's just what a wee smooth transition right into that if he was here. But he's not here. Fucking about with Susan Calman and fucking Deep and Blue, you know what I mean? Hey, don't Lorraine McIntosh, mate. My first on-screen kiss.
I've got a question, Stevie, right?
Yes.
See when you're doing an on-screen kiss,
I've done plenty of them, John.
Do you go full on? Do you throw in a wee tongue in that, or how does it work?
No,
That's
bad etiquette, mate. That's bad etiquette.
Aye. How does it work?
It's just basically it's like a remember. It's like a winch that you used to get at the school disco back in the day.
Right. Oh, right.
You know what I mean? You never. There's no tongues, mate.
I tell you
what,
this is an exclusive I'm about to give. Right, I filmed once for Scott Squad for the Hug Money special, right? And the sections had to be 1 minute long, and mine's went over, so it never got used. And I had to winch Sally.
Sally Hibbett?
Aye.
No way. Did you winch her?
We kissed on. We filmed the scene, but
Sally's class, man. Sally plays Scarlett in River City, John.
Right.
My mum.
No. Sally Faye.
Sally Reid.
Aye, Sally Reid for Scots.
Sally Reid. Oh, fuck.
Aye.
I thought you were saying, mate, I was like, how have I not known that you've winched Scarlett? My mum.
Hey, you winched my mum?
Sally Reid, man, she's brilliant. She's class, man.
I'll be honest with you, I was kind of happy that it never got used because my missus would have never have spoke to me again. How does Nicola deal with that, Stevie, when you need to winch birds on the telly?
Fuck, mate, she's just it, man. It was fucking... It was weird in the beginning when we were younger, know what I mean? When I first started, but now it's just
second nature. Aye, Stevie's at his work getting off with birds.
Who's that? No, he's at his work now, winching birds. Sorry, I'll get him to phone you back later, right?
So what is it your husband does? Aye, he winches birds.
But mate, that was my first on-screen kiss, man. Imagine how nervous I was, man, winching fucking Lorraine McIntosh for Deep and Blue.
Do you know what?
Ever.
I tell you what, Stevie, can you imagine if John had to do a winch with somebody who he would choose?
Oh, I know who
do you think he would choose?
I know who he'd choose.
I know who he'd choose and all.
I think he'd choose Nicole for G4 Claims.
I think he'd choose Nicole and all. Look at the face on him too. Look at the face on him.
Look at him. He's like a fucking Cheshire cat. Look, kid on his looking. Look, he's smiling.
I'm a happily married man, but Nicole,
he's looking for. But listen, like Stevie says, it's for work, mate. Don't worry about it. Your wife will be fine.
You're acting, mate. You're acting. Know what I mean? Right. Anyway, since Grado's not here, I will read out the wee read. And Nicole can't make it this week because she's busy as well. And John,
because she's got an injunction on John.
So remember, if you've been in a road traffic accident and you're not at fault, G4 Claims can make it easy for you. They can provide you with the complete accident management support you require. They'll recover their costs from the at-fault party, sort you out with a like-for-like vehicle replacement. They'll also organise your vehicle to be repaired at one of their approved body shops and returned to you. Should your vehicle be deemed a write-off, they will recover the pre-accident value of your car and write you a big fat cheque for it. And best of all, it won't cost you a penny as they charge the at-fault insurance direct. G4 Claims don't cold call, they don't buy data, and once they've processed your claim, your insurance will remain unscathed. And the best thing is, Nicole, lovely Nicole, John, and the team over there won't take on your case if they don't think they can help. So, if you've been in a road traffic accident or you know someone that has, get on to G4 Claims on 01698 767 172. That's 01698 767 172. Get them at notatfaultclaim.com or find them on social media at G4 Claims Limited. G4 Claims, not at fault claims. Made easy. let's welcome to Football Daft a man who started his career at Clyde before moving down south, where he made his name as a winger at Chelsea and Everton with 28 caps for his country. He also enjoyed spells at Motherwell and Kilmarnock, and now can be seen and heard on just about every TV and radio football show. It is the one and only Pat Nevin. Welcome to the show, Pat.
It's great to be on Football Daft.
How you doing, Pat? Thanks very much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Even when that Chancellor Grado doesn't turn up for the interview, eh?
I know, honest to God, he's an absolute joke. I mean, to be honest, I've been trying to meet up with him for a while. I've never had an agent in my life, right? I've managed to go through my whole life without an agent, and I'm ancient now, right? But about 6 months ago, I had to get an agent for one specific job, right? Turns out it's the same agent as Grado.
Oh, here we go.
So,
He said something about that, aye.
yeah, so I've been trying to meet up with him. Nah, no chance. So he's dumped me. Eventually I'll meet up with him at some point. If we ever do this again, I'll meet up with him.
So listen, Patrick, Kevin, Francis, Michael, Nevin. What made you shorten it to Pat?
Thanks, Dad. Thanks for that one. He was me trying to keep him below the radar.
Christ, I tell you what, your christening must have took about 2 hours for every time you had to say your name.
Do you know the worst thing is? That was the change. That wasn't the original name. Nobody knows this. I've never told anyone. I don't think this. My original
An exclusive.
I just goes with Kevin. Kevin Nevin. Just sounds stupid.
Kevin Nevin.
See, just for the rest of the interview and for John's editing purposes, can we just keep calling you Pat? Is that all right, Pat? Is that all right? I mean,
somebody calls me. There's somebody who only ever calls me Patrick Kevin. Oh, no, it's Stuart Cosgrove.
Cosgrove.
He call me Patrick Kevin Aloysius, all that. So he's giving 9 names.
Aloysius.
That'll do.
Right, so Pat, stick to Pat, right? Right, Pat, you've got a book coming out. Am I right in saying that?
I have. I got bored during the lockdown, like so.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. It's called
I just put a PlayStation on.
No, we just done the podcast all the time.
That's right.
So it's called The Accidental Footballer, which is now available to pre-order. Talk us through it, Pat, as a wee plug for your book here, mate.
I'm rotten at plugging, I tell you. Last thing I want to do.
I tell you what, Pat, give us an idea of why you've went for that title then.
Because I never wanted to be a football player. So I tried really, really hard not to be a football player and failed miserably. There you go. That's what it's like.
That's interesting though. Like,
it's a weird one. And I said this to my wee sister. Which one was it? No, my wee sister, she said to me, "What are you calling it that for? You're always really into your football." And I went, "Yeah, I was into it because I like playing. Didn't know what it is as a job. Never thought of it as a job." So it was kind of weird to come in, and I've got a slightly different background. I went and started doing a degree and things like that, and I came in to it for a different angle. So now almost everybody, you have on that are ex-players of that, with the one thing you wanted to do, the passion, you give up everything else for football, and that's what you're supposed to say. I didn't think that. I thought nothing like that. And for years and years, as I'm kind of getting on a bit, like, and a lot of people saying to me, the stories and the places and the things that you've done and the weird outlook you've got on it, you should write that. But I couldn't get around to it because I was always really, really busy. I was all doing lots of different jobs and probably too many jobs half the time because I ended up travelling all the time. But the good thing about travelling is that you get more stories.
Exactly.
So I ended up I started collecting all these stories about a couple of years ago, but I could never get the time. And then somebody annoyed me one day. And because I was annoyed, I went away and sat down and wrote. And when I stood up again, I'd written 10,000 words. And 3 weeks later, I kind of finished the whole draft of the thing. So it was just brilliant. Somebody annoyed me. And I'm no easy annoyed. I'm really not easy annoyed.
Folk annoy me all the time and I've never wrote a book.
So if you want to annoy me, that's how you get me there. So it was just getting out because there's a lot of people you want to tell a lot of stories and people tell you stories back. And you know what it's like? I mean, I'm as bad as anyone else about it. Somebody asks you to interview somebody, you go on Wiki, don't you? And you don't get a whole story, to be fair.
I'm genuinely sitting on Wikipedia right this minute. I think I found out your name.
Exactly. But until recently, I was for Inverness in Wikipedia, by the way. That's how much you should trust that. And you go to Inverness.
So what did you want to be, Pat? Like, what would you rather? Like, obviously, you've been a football player. You made a successful career with it. What did you want to be though? Like when you were playing football, did you ever in the back of your head go, I don't want to keep doing this, I want to be something else?
No. This is the difficulty. So I'm doing this. This is the thing I'd always do. That's always a big mistake. I use words that I get Mickey taking it right, but it's a dichotomy, right? It's kind of I love doing it. It's brilliant fun. I loved every training session. I double trained every time I went back for training. Loved playing like nothing else, right? The whole career, everything's great. So to do it was great fun doing it. But I'd never thought I want to do that as a job. Because if I'm doing it with my mates at the park, it's exactly the same. It's a game of football. It's exactly the same. Now I got lucky because I kept, and I was a mad keen trainer as well. I was a distance runner. So, I was doing it all the time. But I didn't think that was a sensible job. I thought a sensible job was going, do it with my older brothers and sisters. They all became teachers and lecturers and things like that. And that was just the expected thing to do. And it's a bit odd because from Easterhouse, and notice I said house there. I'm practicing.
Easterhouse. I was going to say, mate, you're for Easterhouse, mate. I grew up in Carntine, mate, no far from Easterhouse, you know what I mean?
Right, well, I used to walk down to Carntine and go to school. I tell you an absolute true story about this, right? The reason why I said house there and then stopped, right? There's a right good reason for that, because I've just been told I've got a few people have read early copies of the book. You send it out and a couple of people read it and they've kind of quite liked it. So the publishers have come back and said, we're going to make an audio book of it. And I went, right. That's pretty good. They must quite like it. I said, who are you going to get to read it? And they went, you? And I went, you? Aye. Get somebody that people will understand.
That's good. Grado will be able to read the book now and all then.
Because it's an audio book.
I'm trying to say the levels of kind of language we can get away with here.
Aye.
You can say whatever you want on here, mate. Don't worry about that.
Aye.
Right. Cool being said, I was trying to get Mike Myers doing his character Fat Bastard to do it. I think that would be absolutely brilliant.
I'm going to read your book. I'm not going to read it, actually. I'm going to get the audio books. I want to hear the accent. I want
to hear Easterhouse.
Easterhouse, and when I walk down to Carntine, I want to hear all that kind of stuff, mate.
Okay, now you've got about 4 voices, right? So you get the BBC World Service one, the Radio 5 one.
Is that when see the BBC World Service one? Is that the one that you're going, hello, my name is Pat Nevin? Is that how you do it?
If only I could. No,
sorry, mate, I've just finished watching The Crown. That's the only voice I've got in my head now.
In my head now, I've got my mom's voice when she spoke to me and gave me into trouble, but then she'd phone somebody on the phone to get a delivery or something. It's hello there, how you doing? And you're like, what are you talking about for?
Aye, you know what I mean? the phone voice, the more phone voice was amazing.
You're from 165 Yes, I can hear my mum's voice as well. Sadly, it's going to. All it is actually. Here's the secret. It's just slowed down. That's all.
Aye. Right, Pat. Back to yourself, man.
We're not getting very far here. Come on, mate.
Back to your career, mate. Back to your career stuff, right? So, growing up, right? Yeah, sporty Celtic growing up. But am I right in saying you shifted your allegiances towards Hibs?
I did, yeah. It was a long time. I was well into my 30s, maybe 40s before I did. I'd be a mad keen Celtic supporter. And really, I mean, that was the thing. Because I was with Celtic Boys Club. I was in S-Form with Celtic. It looked like I was going to be asked to sign for Celtic. It must have came very close because I was the player of the year and all that sort of stuff. Top goal scorer, you name it. But it didn't in the end. I was quite happy just then go and stand in the terraces and watch the game. I stand in the jungle. I was perfectly happy doing that and then playing a Sunday. I was all right with that. That's what I would have done. And it never stopped. And there was a whole bunch of us were down there. Big Joe McLaughlin was Celtic man. Jockey obviously was as well. Stevie Clark was a Celtic supporter. Oh, my legs.
Oh, Stevie. There you go. Exclusive.
No, not that exclusive. Trust me.
Let me just say, man, it was like probably the worst kept secret. I think I could tell when he was a Kilmarnock manager.
You can tell he's a Celtic supporter because he's handsome.
I would say, I don't know if it is, but it certainly was. He's the only person who tell you it is. But no, it was a difficult time when I came back because I'd spent a hell of a lot of time in my life doing anti-racism stuff, which apparently has become quite trendy recently. When it wasn't trendy, right? When it was, people weren't having a...
Must have been a nightmare walking about the streets on your knees all the time, but...
Honestly, I just ended up just wearing them kind of things that you do for gardening and keep my knees upright. But it was honestly, it was mental down there in England, and particularly the Chelsea fans. Some of them were dreadful. So I was digging at it all the time, and I was such a bore with it. I just wouldn't shut up about it all. But I always, it wasn't actually necessarily just racism. It was anyism. Just didn't like anybody treating anybody different. So I didn't care if it was sexism. I didn't care if it was whatever. I just didn't care. Just treat people right, normal and fairly. And I couldn't get my head around it. I've never been able to get my head around it right. So I come back up here and I'm thinking, well, remember what it used to be like, all that kind of Celtic Rangers, Catholic Bros and stuff. But we've all moved on.
Well, me and Stevie haven't been able to do it in private.
Because the thing is, when I left Glasgow, Billy Connolly was doing it. It was a laugh. It was a bit of a laugh most of the time. And I kind of thought, I couldn't believe it was still so heavy. But I thought it was getting a lot better. And there was, we had a time, there was, remember Boys Against Bigotry and all that sort of stuff. There was a lot of stuff going on. But a football team's, the football for me really, it wasn't the background for me. Now, it turns out that maybe I was in the minority there. So when it came to it that, my son was growing up and I just didn't feel right. There's some of the stuff that's been singing both sides. This is not Celtic or Rangers. It's just, I didn't like stuff that was nothing to do with football. Football was the thing I loved. There's enough good, both clubs got enough good football songs.
Hold on a minute here. I don't think Sunshine on Leith's got fucking anything to do with football, Pat.
That's a very good point, actually. It is a very good song. And I get dogs abuse online for a certain percentage of Celtic fans. I mean, you're constantly on to me online, like, you're wasting your time, guys. It has no effect, right? So, first of all, it's a bit sad because they've got this thing that I don't like Celtic. Here's the story. Hibs were my second team and Celtic were my first team. Now, Hibs are my first team and Celtic my second team, so it's not that big a deal.
So I take it your favourite colour's just green then, Pat? Is that what I'm
I'm just tight as a duck's arse and didn't want to buy a new scarf. All my family are Celtic fans. They call me a whatever.
They called you that when you were still a Celtic fan, so
Turncoat, Nevin,
you jump the dike.
Exactly.
Turncoat, Patrick, John, Paul, Kevin, Nevin.
The funniest bit is, see if you ever somebody down south, they always say the same thing. So yeah, you hear you're not a Celtic supporter anymore. I decided to change. You're like,
anyway, you must get yours for that.
Don't be stupid.
That is the one thing you don't do, but in it, you do not change your team. So I don't know how you've managed. I don't know how you managed to survive this long after it. To be honest,
the reason being is, I have to say, it's been brilliant being a Hibs fan. It's been painful, but honestly, I've loved it. There's a kind of real brilliant feeling in the terrace.
What do you make of them now with Jack Ross? What do you make of them, Pat? How they're doing with Jack Ross?
Delighted with getting him. I think we really want to watch getting Jack. He was doing all right down here. Down Sunderland, wasn't it? He was doing all right, But to be fair, that was a club that was struggling and had sort of structural problems in it anyway.
Definitely.
So, big time.
You can be the best manager in the world, and there's a lot of very good managers out there that aren't successful because they've not got a right job, and that's the tough thing sometimes. So, there's a lot of managers out there that you're a genius 1 minute and the next minute you're an absolute hopeless, useless, whatever, and you're thinking, but 45 minutes ago you were saying the opposite. I've always felt that Jack's a real class act, and it's kind of no big secret now that I was a middleman trying to get Hibs manager a few years back, and they eventually didn't go for the one I was providing for them, but I think maybe had they got Stevie Clark, he might have done a good job for them. So they kind of turned him.
So, mate.
So
he's turned it to a no bad career, that boy.
But so he went to Kilmarnock instead a year or so later. And what a job he done at Kelly. What a job he done there. And I had a brilliant time there. So anyway, the whole thing about the Celtic stuff, it doesn't affect me. I live in the borders. You go to Edinburgh, nobody bothers you, Can I tell you a story about the one guy who dug me up at Celtic Park?
Tell us any stories you want, Pat. Any stories you want.
It's as long as it's not going to ruin your book for us. Battering.
No, I won't, because the book's finished before this. So I was doing a game, right, and it's against Celtic Rangers. It's half time. So half time, you have a break, and we go down to the press room. There's a pie or whatever, right? By the way, Celtic Park pies in the press room. I don't care about your prawn sandwiches, man. They're great. They're different class, right? So yeah, I'm walking down, and there's a guy shouting, "Hey, Nevin!" And I'm like, yeah, you're just here for the money. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, and you're just here for the money. That's all you care about. You're here for the money. And I'm like, yeah, I'm working. That's
Aye.
Aye.
Can I try and explain something about getting work? It's kind of thing you do when seeing you work, people getting money for it. It's good, you know. It's a good job. Like I like the job. It's great, but honestly, and then it descended after that to expletives. But I was going, what?
I said, you know, I imagine somebody walking into McDonald's like that to the person behind the counter. Oh, you're just here for the money.
No, I love McDonald's. I do it for nothing. But to be honest, people get annoyed about things. You don't take, and I'd never took that particularly personally. Just a bit annoyed.
It's not bad. 62,000 people sitting there, and only one of them has a go at you.
Yeah,
It could be worse. It could have been Jerry McNee.
It's kind of it is funny because you don't worry about it really too much because it's not actually you they're having a go at. It's kind of what they see as you. They don't really know you, and I think that's you'll know it yourselves for the jobs that you do in the media, the jobs that you do anywhere. People have a go sometimes at your character, a character you're playing. Sometimes because you're on the telly or the radio, that you're not talking about who you are generally. You know what you think. You're just talking about football usually most of the time. So they don't even really know who you are. But you know,
it could have been worse, but Pat, you could have had like a name like Shell Suit Bob for them. You know what I mean? When was the last time Andy shouted Stephen at you in the street, Stevie?
I don't even answer to Stevie anymore. I just get called Boba all the time.
Oh, no,
Need to call me Stevie.
Anyway, I'm going to. Can I just ruin this right for you, right? So the Shell Suit Bob stuff, you're going to get it right.
Aye.
And you just have to take it, right? You take it on the chin.
Aye.
I probably had 10 years of just the one thing being said at me every time I walked in Glasgow. Right, just one thing, right? And it's now gone because it's 10 years gone now. And the minute I say it's going to start again, right? I'm going to say it. Stuart Cosgrove, they used to the Mickey taking when the shows it. And it was pa.
Aye, I know, mate. I know you were going to say that.
And honestly, for years, and it was like every time anyone said it, they thought it was the funniest thing, and nobody had ever said it before.
Is this like the EastEnders, Pat? Is that
it was always kind of like, what do you think, Pat? When it was Pat,
it was basically the Mickey at Cosgrove, but he supposedly said Pat. Anyway, the thing is, you just look after and think, honestly think it's funny. You didn't say it, you just look and smiled. But anyway, that'll come back then.
See, because they know it's annoying you, that's why it's funny. You know what I mean?
And that's why I keep on saying it. It's like, if you look up you've done Wiki, right?
Aye.
But did you put my name on YouTube?
No, I didn't. Because
everybody should put my name into YouTube, right, and see what's the first thing that comes up. And of course, it's the worst thing I've ever done in my career. Right? Obviously, straight in there, right?
Totally
make you laugh. But I shouldn't be saying, look up the worst thing about me. I'm just laughing. See, there you go.
For all the listeners out there,
I need to watch this. Wait a minute, I need to watch this. Right.
So, can you hear it as well? Because the penalty's bad enough.
Yes.
But it's actually what the commentator says is very funny. So he's loving it.
Tell you what, you're doing a wee bit of damage there outside the box, Pat. Oh, it's a stone waller too. It's a stone.
They're showing you the penalty as well. Wow.
It's a stone waller.
So I'm pulled down for a penalty. 4-1 up, a minute to go, cup game. Couldn't give a stuff.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, I'm holding you up here, but I need to see this now.
No, for all the listeners out there, Crystal has just googled YouTube Pat Nevin and he's watching.
Right.
I know
Nevin's putting the ball on the spot. It's not quite on the spot. He said to put it back on the spot here. What have you done there, Pat? Jesus Christ.
What happened, Toe? What happened? Toe, what happened?
Stevie, he put the ball down, never took a run up and passed it to the goalie. You need to see this, man. This is up there with that Fulham penalty for last week.
No, honestly, I'm offended by that. I'm seriously offended.
Thanks for coming on the show, Pat. And
see, that's the point. You've got to laugh at yourself. Honestly, that's the whole thing. If you can't laugh at yourself and let other people laugh at you, what kind of world are we in?
Where was your happiest time in your playing career, Pat?
Brilliant question. It actually usually goes down to the first season at every club. It's weird that. I don't know why. First season at Clyde, won the league. Brilliant. First season at Chelsea, won the league. Brilliant. By the way, rubbish league. It took us up to the top division. First season at Everton, beaten in extra time in the FA Cup final by Liverpool. First season at Tranmere, scored 19 goals in one season. And I wasn't a scorer.
Many of them were penalties, but...
You wouldn't let
Toe, go on YouTube that, Toe. YouTube that, Toe.
Do you know the brilliant thing about it? I did actually take a few for Tranmere. The stupid thing, Scotland actually then let me take penalties after that. Shows how much Scotland was struggling for a while. I only took one for Scotland. I scored.
So tell me this one then.
Can I say also? See my first year at Kelly.
Aye.
Well, only year at Kelly, I suppose. I don't know if I'd ever been any happier in my entire career. And I'll tell you the reason why, and it's absolutely true. I played all this time in England. Most of my career, 14, 15 years in England. I came back up the road and I'd been desperate to get back up. The teams had been trying to buy me for years and I'd been dying to come back up, but the clubs wouldn't let me go. And then I'd get back up to Kelly and the people that I met at Kelly were just my mates. It was just like, I'm playing with my mates again. And it was just like, because a lot of them have, I would say of the friends that I made, I was only there a year. The friends that I made through my career, I made more in that 1 year at Kelly of people that I'd basically hang about with than anywhere else. Gary Holt, brilliant geezer. He was fantastic at the time. And very good players as well. A guy called Dylan Kerr. Although brilliantly, Coisty has the best line ever about him. He thought Dylan was a good player, but he thought his brother Juan was better.
McCoist, that McCoist. That's
a McCoist line. McCoisty's always get the best line.
Tell me this one, but now you were coming back up to Kilmarnock, like you said. Was there any other Scottish teams in for you at that point in time? And was the Kelly pie a huge factor in your decision?
Hey, if it was a curry Kelly pie, I was up for it, mate. Celtic had tried to buy me 4 times in my career. So 4 times they tried to buy me and get me back up. And I suspect each time it could have happened, but the clubs wouldn't let me go. And there had been a couple of hints before, but it just all came at the right time. And I would just thought, I want to spend a year or two up. A variety of reasons. I wanted to come back and spend some time in Scotland. I wanted to finish my career back up in Scotland. I kind of wanted my dad to not have to travel, because my dad never missed a game. So he was like 800-mile round trips and things like that. So I thought it would be nice for my dad to come down and just...
He could have took that job in New York, Pat.
My dad still would have tried to get the train. We came back up to Kelly. It was brilliant. I met up with Bobby Williamson, and I just love Bobby because Bobby's faced the house as well. So we just
edit that wee bit out, John. I just love Bobby.
Chris Toll, man. Chris Toll.
Straight in the still game, isn't we're right back.
There we go.
So, Pat, you say obviously you like your music, didn't you?
I love Fanatic.
Aye, right. Who's your favourite band?
It changes all the time. Probably. Just about to come. Who changes all the time? I'll tell you. The first album was great, by the way.
What an eclectic taste you've got, Pat. I've never heard of it.
There's a Scottish band called Camera Obscura. A Glasgow band called Camera Obscura, who have been around for a good few years now. But Tracy Ann is probably my favourite songwriter in the world. And I kind of got a wee hint that they haven't played for a while. They haven't been together, they haven't done stuff really well. They had a bit of a tragedy in the band. But I think they're going to be back soon. And
Excellent.
I would go and see. They played recently up at St Luke's, just beside Barrowlands.
Aye.
It's a great venue, man. Great venue.
I've seen a lot of great stuff in there. I think it was Edwin's last one I've seen them. Yeah, it's a very good few stuff.
See, before you went to see them, did you have to get sent off in a game so that you could be free to go and watch them?
No, I don't get sent off. I got an agreement with the manager. I didn't have to turn up to the game. Or I played the first half, and then I could go and watch New Order. Right, okay. I only ever had one red card in my career, which was amazing. This just sums up referees for you, right? So I'm playing with Tranmere, nearly end of my career. So I've lost the ball on the left wing. It's typical winger thing, right? Chase back and try and cover it. I've ran back about 70 yards, right? Just about caught up with the ball, just inside the penalty area, and they're centre forward. And I slide in, but I've not got there in time. Before I can get there, our big goalkeeper, Eric Nixon, 6'3", big green strip, we weren't all white. Smacks the kid, battered, wipes him out. It's a certain sender off. The referee walks up and gives me a red card. And I'm like, I was nowhere. I'll go.
The days before sub goalies.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly,
Exactly.
Nico would have he'd have got me down in the Bill in the Call thing. He'd have been like, bang. So I'll take that.
So, if you were to be like, look back at a rock star in a band or something, Pat, or a football player, what would you have picked?
Oh, what a good question. I just love the music for loving it. I DJ quite a lot. I go to see bands all the time.
Do you play the guitar in that as well? Do you play the
I used
guitar?
to play saxophone. Used to play clarinet, but I was rubbish. So, but I didn't. I've sang once on stage with a band. Once, stood up and sang with a band once on stage. And if it was ever on, videoed, I would basically never go back, never be allowed back into Glasgow ever, and rightly so. Because
no, mate, I sing in panto every year and I still get let back every year, and I'm fucking.
Oh, you don't know what I sang.
Oh, well, there we go.
Tell me this: are you an Oasis fan?
There was a classic line at the time. You were either Blur or
Oasis,
right? So you're Blur or Oasis, and obviously Blur. He was a Chelsea fan, sort of thing. But I always thought that the correct answer between Blur and Oasis was Pulp.
Pulp. That's a good shout. Aye.
Different class. Great album.
That kind of ruins my next question, because you're doing Chelsea and Krasnodar tomorrow night, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
I was going to ask you to see how many Oasis song titles you could get in on your commentary without folk noticing.
Well, to be honest, you should wait until I do a Celtic Rangers game of that. I can always get. I do it all the time. I always get band names in. If there was a band I liked recently, it was a few years ago now, and it's the hardest one I've ever had to get in. I had to get The Pains of Being Pure at Heart into a commentary. And I managed it. The whole idea is not to crowbar it in, so people say, if you don't know the band, you go, "What's that?" It has to work, right? So, do you want to know how I done it? Yeah,
definitely, man, definitely.
There's 5 live, so I'm doing Arsenal versus Man City, and I've just seen the Pains. I've been DJing down south the night before, and the Pains have been there. Right? Anyway, I'm doing a commentary, and Arsene Wenger was the manager. You know what he's like with football? It was obviously pretty beautiful football. Anyway, they get beat 1-0, and they said, "Well, what about that? Is he doing the right thing, Pat?" I said, "See, if you're Arsene Wenger, you want to win, but you want to win beautifully." And sometimes it doesn't happen. And these are the Pains of Being Pure at Heart.
Yes.
Mate, that's beautifully done. That's beautifully done.
I was so proud of it. And you wouldn't notice it otherwise, because it sounds all right.
I'm going to be listening to 5 Live all the time now.
Every second sentence you'll end it with, "Do you know what I mean?" tomorrow night.
No.
I mean, he's picked up a yellow card, but he just has to roll with it. You know what I mean? He just has to
There you go. You get 2 in there, Stevie. He's got to roll with it. Do you know what I mean?
Some might say it was a foul, but not me.
I'm trying to remember what I did. I got asked by Cameron Stewart to see if I could get one of the singles in, right? I was doing BBC Scotland TV, and it was a live game, and I managed to get 3 of them in one sentence. 3 in one sentence. It was live on telly. It was a cup final as well.
I bet your phone went mental after it.
It was hilarious. I mean, it was so was. I mean, you wouldn't even notice it, but I got 3 Carmen Obscuro songs in one set.
Superb. Obviously going on about the punditry and your football time, but your time at Motherwell's chief exec, Pat, how did that? Did you enjoy that, or was it?
No, that
totally
was
different
really
side?
no. That's a good question. And enjoyable is not the first one.
Aye.
Purely because the first 2 years I was there, I was player chief exec. Now I wasn't getting enough games, but seeing as I'd chosen the manager, and he
I was going to say, could you not just sack the guy that was picking the team?
Yes, I could have. Yeah, I could have. But does that not ask a question about my judgment? Since I've chosen the manager, Billy Davis, and then he's not picking me, I need to trust his judgment. So I'm stuffed. Right? I'm the only guy that can go into his office and go, "Hey, Gaffer."
Aye.
You're the creator of your own downfall there, really.
Well, not really, because I was getting on a bit, and I'd like to have played, and I was fit enough to play, and he played me sometimes, and it was all right. But it was just a deal. You just have to put up with it. But it was dead interesting, and it's the sadness of Everton in this book, and it stops before the Motherwell times.
Aye.
So part 2 should be interesting. But you couldn't really get it all in because there's all the media stuff that happened. I travelled the world with 5 Live and various television companies and all the rest of it. So, and the stories that came for that were good fun as well. I mean, a right good laugh. But the Motherwell time was so interesting. And I would say the 4 years of Motherwell, there's more good stories there than any other time in my life. I mean, really funny, sad as well. It's just an extraordinary time. So enjoyable, the vast majority of the time, no. Because if you're an executive, all you get is a problem. That's all you get. So whereas you're a football player, you just walk about and kick a ball. It's dead easy. So it's not fun. But I look back and lots of sides of it is really fun. I mean, I still actually quite like Motherwell. I really like Motherwell actually. But
every guest we have on, man, they say that about Motherwell, like about how much a family-run club it is. Do you know what I mean, and all that kind of stuff. They always say good stuff to say about Motherwell.
Do you know what? I went to a Celtic Motherwell game at Fir Park last season, and I was in the Motherwell end, right? And they knew I was a Celtic supporter and everything like that, and I never get a bit of bother, not at all. No bother at all, and it's like you said there. It's like a kind of family atmosphere. Even when you go back to talk about like sectarianism and stuff like that, there was none of that for the Motherwell crowd either. There was no derogatory comments or anything like that. It was just Celtic drew 1 each. I left early to get a taxi home, right, and I missed the Motherwell equaliser, and the cheer went yes, and I thought yes, 2-0, brilliant, you belter. Gets up the road and it's 1 each. I was like, no. I know the best part is I was collecting for charity before the game, and that's why I was at the game. And I missed the Celtic goal, which came in the first 5 minutes, and I missed the Motherwell goal that came in the last minute. What a buzz, man! What a night.
Not the best call actually. That's my worst one of missing it. Was I had a choice once, and I did. Right, so stick with me. So I'm happy, but my team down south Chelsea, right? So I'm Chelsea man and Hibs, right? On the same day, Everton are playing in the Scottish Cup final, which I've been asked to work at for BBC Scotland. And I'm also been asked to work on the Champions League final between Chelsea and Bayern Munich, same day. And I have to make that call.
Wow.
So, come on, I'm going to ask you, what call do you make?
For me personally, I go for the one that I think my team's going to win, and I would have went for the Scottish Cup final.
Because it was Hibs Hearts, and Hibs hadn't won it for 100 years, all that stuff.
I have to agree with Toll here. I probably would have went, because first of all, it's a derby. Hibs hadn't won the Scottish Cup for so long. It's a derby. Aye.
Chelsea are over in Bayern to play Bayern in the Champions League final.
You think that's cut and dried? I remember watching that game in the pub, and when Chelsea equalised, I was like, no way, their name's on this cup.
I was the one Drogba's header, wasn't it?
Aye, what a header, man.
All right, so as a Chelsea and Hibs man, yes, I did the right thing. I chose Hibs, right? So we get beat 5-1. And I'm at the game, and the Hearts fans are laughing. They're killing themselves. They're going, man, this is the funniest thing, having a Hibby sitting there laughing at me, right? But I then need to do the highlight show that night in Sports Scene. And I'm like, gutted. It was a brilliant moment. My apologies to Hibs fans here. So I'm gutted, right, because we'll get beat. But then I'm watching the Chelsea game, which is going on in the evening. because it went to extra time and then penalties. See, as Drogba scores his penalty to win the Champions League for Chelsea, and my team's went, I'm everywhere. I'm gone. I'm hearing in my ear, 5, 4, 3, 2. Cut that in. 1. Completely straight. This is the maddest thing, and then the heart's game, I'm going. If I'm sitting there with a big beamy smile on, the Hibbies are going, what's he laughing about?
I knew he was a Celtic supporter.
Exactly. Oh, it was the funniest thing ever.
You see, you're talking about your punditry there. Obviously, that's a huge part. That's your career now. Your punditry. Tell us a time when you've made it. Tell us a time when you've made an arse of it.
All the time.
Is there any one thing that sticks out in your mind, and when you think about it, you just go, "Oh, for fuck's sake, I can't believe it."
I don't do embarrassment.
No,
embarrassment. I've never been. I must be a robot, man, because I don't get embarrassed. I've never been nervous. So all the kind of normally kind of things that people kind of worry about now, I don't give it. I'm too busy laughing at me for anybody else to
That probably would have been the most making an arse if they went 5, 4, 3 and you hadn't heard that and you were still jumping about going mad. Drogba's penalty. That'd have been brilliant.
I can remember once I was doing I'd done years for Channel 5. I'd done their football for years. 12, 13 years I was their main pundit at Channel 5. And we had Europa League. And we'd get some guests on quite a lot of time. Anyway, a couple of terrible ones. One of them was a Scotland game we were covering. But the lights went out after 50 minutes. Right, and you hear this horrible, horrible line that you're going to actually go cold now when I tell you, okay, lads, fill for 50 minutes.
For 50 minutes?
50 minutes?
50 minutes.
No way, man.
There's nothing to go.
Jesus.
By the way, Pat, there's sometimes when me and Grado and Stephen are doing this show where there's a lull of about 2 seconds and it feels like 50 minutes.
Aye.
And
50
the thing is,
minutes.
I don't know if I'm right, but I think I might be. I needed somebody really talkative with me because there's myself, there's the guy who was doing the kind of anchor, who wasn't a football man, but he was a good anchor. Myself and Kenny Dalglish.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Oh no. So
I can't imagine how Kenny felt. It must have been absolute terror for him, man.
But the funny thing, because they had that thing where I had to, because Kenny was, I had to kick him. Yeah, I'm kicking Kenny under the table. Speak like.
Aye, I can say something.
And it was good as gold actually. In the end, it was fantastic. But the funny thing is, because I spotted what was going on, and I'm always open talk back, and so I know exactly what's going on. I'm doing half producing kind of thing, and I was going to get the cameraman back, and the cameraman weren't even ready for the shit. Get back here, you lot, come quick, because it's everything going down, people running mad, people tripping over cables and everything. I'm just about to come back to it. And I'm like, Kenny, sit there, Kenny, you just got to talk. Don't worry, I can talk. We'll be fine. Okay, good, right. You're right. And I've got everyone sorted out, right? Camera, come on. My phone went off.
Brilliant, man. Brilliant. Listen, Pat, every week on Football Daft, we do a quiz. Now, I says to John, just to test how much of a high B you were, we should do a Hibs quiz. However, I don't think he's done it. I don't think he's done it.
I haven't. But what I have done, however, is because Pat's such a massive music fan, we've thrown in some music questions this week as well for the quiz.
So it's a little bit different this week.
Yep.
Nice.
Can I warn you of one thing?
Yes.
I have the worst memory in the world. I have a face.
That's okay.
Listen, don't worry about it. You've not got a worse memory than David McCracken.
Trust me,
he's the only one. But before we get into it, though, we need to correct a score for last week. Is Derek Johnson actually, what was it, the season he won the treble? He got that question wrong. It was 77-78 and not 76-77, as he said. So Derek Johnson is down to 3 as opposed to 4 on the leaderboard. So he's got 3. But Pat, you guys are looking to be at the top, right? So you need to beat John Sutton and Chick Young. who
Not
are
gonna
joint
happen.
top with
Trust me.
They're,
Not gonna
they're
happen.
joint top with 15. We've got Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley tucked in behind with 14, while the good doctor Kenny Duker and Kevin Harper are just behind in third place with 13. Other selected scores include Owen Coyle on 12, Charlie Adam on 10, Frank McAvenny on 5, and as Chris said, Falkirk manager David McCracken, the strongest man in football, he's holding the table up. He's got 1. Right, producer Johnny, be ready? Your time starts now. Here we go. How many top flight Scottish teams have Rovers in their name?
4. I don't know.
Who do Rangers play in their last Europa League game?
Probably ought to know this, but can't remember.
Just
I
say a
don't know.
team. Just say any
Krasnodar,
team.
that's
Right,
who it is.
Right. Which Scottish club are currently being investigated for financial irregularities?
I wouldn't know that. Rangers.
What was the Smiths' debut single?
Wasn't this Charlie Man?
Yes.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
right. What 2 teams contest the Rome Derby?
Roma and I should know this one. I've been there. Can't remember. Lazio.
Who is David McCracken's co-manager at Falkirk?
Probably a good mate of mine. I forgot.
Big sexy guy.
No, it's not Gary Hope. I'm going to say Gary Hope.
On what date does the last season's Scottish Cup take place? The final.
What date?
Yeah, what date this month?
Remember, this is for last season.
Last season's.
10th. No, 20th of December.
And what Scottish town are Cockatoo twins from?
Cocteau twins.
Grange,
Cockatoo
man.
twins. What is Clyde's nickname?
The Bully Wee.
Who is the current assistant manager at Chelsea?
Jody Morris.
And what year were Hibs founded?
1878, is it? Ooh.
Time!
Oh, there we go.
Well done, Pat. We'll run through your wrong answers before giving you your score. There's 2 teams in the Scottish top flight with Rovers in their name. Chris and Stephen, can you name them?
Albion Rovers.
Raith Rovers and Albion Rovers.
There you go. Lech Poznan are the last Europa League game for Rangers. It's St Mirren and not Rangers, surprisingly, that are being investigated.
Oh, that's enough. That's enough.
David McCracken's co-manager at Falkirk is big sexy Lee Miller. And come on, Pat, you're meant to be a Hibs supporter now. 1875 for Hibs.
I panicked. I'm stinking it. I couldn't. I'll be honest with you right now. You asked me Chelsea's date. I couldn't have told you this.
Right.
I bet you could answer the Celtic one, but
Yes, I can.
I see.
But you did all right, Pat. You managed to get 5.
God,
There we go.
I'm
Well done,
very
man.
pleased with that.
Well done.
Very pleased with that.
There
Same
we
as
go.
Frank McAvenny, so you
Aye,
can.
on a par with
We'll need to get Tony Cotty on next and see how he does.
Honestly, I'm terrible. at
Actually,
playing.
I've just counted it back up. It's 6.
6, yeah.
There we go. You beat
Mistake,
Frank
mistake.
McAvenny. There you go. There you go.
That was
Brilliant,
eight points
Pat.
to lose.
Oh, but Pat, honestly, man, thanks for giving up your time to come on and chat to us. It's been absolutely cracking.
And
Thank
Pat,
you.
when is your book released?
I'm told it's March the 4th. You can buy it online at Amazon.
Nice one.
There's a guy winding me up at the back here.
I'll get it. It's Grado's agent that's standing behind you winding you up.
She's
No,
very-
it's Grado.
Don't mess with Vivian. She's
Aye,
No,
so I
fair.
failed. So I failed.
actually, in all seriousness, hopefully it's a bit of a laugh. And there's the good thing about the thing I'm pleased about it is there's a lot of stuff about Scotland and my growing up. And you mentioned Celtic there. There's a lot about Celtic because
Magic.
it's such a fanatical supporter as a kid, and a lot of things that will surprise people about that. Because
Excellent.
people get an idea about what I think about Celtic. And,
Listen,
Excellent,
it's, do
Pat.
you know what? It's we grow up, don't we? We grow up and we change and stuff like that. Fair play, but it seems to me as if you'll always have a soft spot for them. So that'll do for me.
oh, definitely. Either that or I would never be talked to by my family ever again.
No invited to Christmas or nothing.
Aye.
Exactly. Anyway,
Honestly,
it's been fun,
Pat, James, Patrick, Kevin, Nevin, blah, blah, blah. It's been great
Michael.
having you, mate. Honestly.
Michael, Stephen, Jack,
an absolute
Matthew,
pleasure.
Mark, Luke, and John Nevin.
I'll
all the
be
best,
tuning in
Pat.
myself to hear your next show, lads. It's been great.
Excellent. Thanks
All
very
the
much
best,
for
Pat.
coming on.
Thank
Pat.
you,
Really
mate.
appreciate
Take care of
it.
yourself.
Bye bye. At
Football Daft, we want to help you out with this brand new way to beat the bookies. TradeMateSports.com. The only way to achieve long-term profitability from sports betting is to take value from the bookmakers. Imagine if your pal told you, I'll give you £50 if this coin lands on heads, but if it lands on tails, you have to give me 40 quid. You would take that bet as many times as possible as your winnings should outweigh the outgoings. This is exactly what TradeMate Sports does, but in sports betting. Working in real time to highlight value bets so you can easily beat the bookies. Become a part of their community who have made $5.85 million from value betting by starting a 3-week trial by using the link in the episode bio. Alex from TradeMate Sports has more info and some top tips for this weekend.
G'day Football Daft listeners, Alex here from TradeMate Sports again. Before I get into my 3 tips for the week, just a little bit of education for you before I get into those. So one of the biggest mistakes I see in betting all the time is people who are opening new accounts in bookmakers. They don't maximize the sign-up bonus. So when you sign up at a bookmaker, they'll say, if you deposit 50 quid, we'll give you 50 quid, those kind of things, all the way up to maybe like sometimes you can get up to £200. So instead of depositing, in that case, instead of depositing like £25 or £10 or whatever, I would deposit £50, maximize that bonus, because you're going to get £50 back. If you only do 20, 10, whatever, you're only going to get that much back. So you're better off just absolutely maximizing it because it's free money. And then you can use sources like value betting that'll help you make a long-term profit, or you can use methods like matched betting to make sure profit. So I guess with your bonus money. So that's my little tip for today. Try and max out those sign-up bonuses the bookmakers give you. And my tips for this week in the Premier League, again, 3 tips. I've got Burnley +1 on the Asian handicap versus Arsenal. Brighton +0.5 at 1.95 in odds, and that is against Leicester. And sorry, the price for the Burnley game was 2 in odds. So Burnley +1 at 2 in odds, Brighton +0.5 at 1.95, and lastly Liverpool versus Fulham. I've got Liverpool -1.5 at 1.98 in odds. So those odds are the lowest you should be taking. So try and find odds of those or better with your bets this weekend. And if you want hundreds, thousands more value bets like that, head over to the TradeMate Sports website and start a free week trial. Cheers, guys.
So get involved with TradeMateSports.com right now and support Football Daft by checking out the link in the episode bio, or heading to our social media, Football Daft Pod on Twitter, or just plain old Football Daft on Facebook. Let's get bookie bashing.